Hey everybody, this is the Peaceful Warrior giving you my review of Naruto chapter 604 entitled Reunion. Boy, was it ever a reunion. Coming into this week's chapter, Obito learns that Rin and Kakashi are in trouble. They're surrounded by ninja from the Hidden Mist, and he's off to try to save them. And he's not able to because his body just isn't there yet. It's not developed enough. So the Spiral Zetsu offers him his body in order to go to them and to save them and do his thing. So Obito accepts, and as the Spiral Zetsu's body is wrapping around Obito, uh, the spiral mask that we see Obito uses Toby begins to form, leaving just his Sharingan open. And at the beginning of this week's chapter, Obito is attached to the Ghetto Mazo. He has a tube from the Ghetto Mazo statue that is used to create the Zetsu and is used to give Madara life support. And apparently, Obito is being fed chakra from this Ghetto Mazo that he then uses to punch through this huge boulder while he's attached to it. And just before he leaves, a couple of things happen. He grabs a cloak from what appears to be Madara's armory. All of Madara's tools and weapons are there. The huge shuriken that Obito used to cut B's octopus legs are there. The fan that we see Obito give to Madara so that he can deflect Naruto's Rasengan-sized Bijudama is there. The scythe that Madara has when Obito wakes up in his lair, that's over there. The chain that we see Obito uses Toby in his fight with the 4th Hokage is over there. So all those things are over there. And Obito grabs a cloak from there. And to me, the only significance that grabbing a cloak would have is that it's a visual way of showing that Obito is in his final steps to becoming Toby. Because at first I was thinking, well, perhaps he's grabbing it because he feels naked, only wearing a Zetsu body. But Zetsu isn't naked, technically. So the only significance it could have is that Kishimoto is showing us that he's taking his final steps to becoming the Toby that we see throughout the series. So as Obito is leaving, he says his goodbye. He tells Madara, "Hey man, thanks for saving my life. I really appreciate it. But I won't be coming back. So I just wanted to make sure I told you thank you before I leave." And Madara says, "Hold on to your thanks because you're definitely going to come back. And when you do, you're truly going to thank me." And Madara says that with such conviction that Obito is silently convinced that it's going to happen. But Obito heads out the door. And as he heads out, we find out that he's going to be able to communicate telepathically with the White Zetsu back in the lair because of the Zetsu body he's wearing. And we also learn that there are other Zetsus that are out there besides the Spiral Zetsu and the White Zetsu that we see that are all throughout the war gathering information. And one of the things that Zetsu tells Obito is that these hidden mist ninja are Jonin or Anbu level ninja, and there are several dozen of them surrounding Rin and Kakashi, and Minato is nowhere to be found. On top of all of this, they're somehow using artificial bodies. Now, that's strange, because in this entire series, not only have we never seen artificial bodies outside of Zetsu, we've never seen artificial bodies or even heard of artificial bodies being used by the Hidden Mist Village. So this is rather strange. And I think that there are two significant points about this whole the enemy is using artificial bodies thing. The first point is that I believe that it can play a significant role in how Ren actually dies. The hit and miss using these artificial bodies will play a role, can play a role, if you will, in how Ren actually dies. The second reason why these artificial bodies may be significant is because it may be the reason why Obito, as Toby, decides to go to the Hit and Miss village in the first place, and if and manipulate the fourth Mizukage. So I think that these artificial bodies are key, and that they need to be kept in the forefront of your mind when we're examining and thinking about the chapters henceforth. So anyway, with that being said, Zetsu, the Spiral Zetsu tells Obito, listen, because I'm protecting you and you're wearing my body, I can feel that you're still recuperating and you haven't recovered from your injuries, and you're in no condition to fight the level of ninja that we're going to be up against. So when the time comes, you should let me take over your body. And in this moment, the people who have been saying that Obito will kill Ren himself, or Zetsu will use Obito's body against Obito's will to kill Ren, those theories now begin to come into play. And that Obito is going to blame Kakashi for not being able to stop him or Zetsu either way. But all of a sudden, Obito begins to have a pain in his eye. And at first he thinks that it may have something to do with wearing the Zetsu body for the first time. But it's not. All of a sudden we get scenes of Ren as if Obito is looking at her. And Ren is bleeding. And at first I thought that perhaps she may have been like disintegrating in some way. But he's actually seeing Ren through the Sharingan that he gave Kakashi. And on the last page of this chapter, which makes this entire chapter worth reading, which makes this entire chapter amazing, what happens is you get Kakashi with his hand through Ren's chest with a Chidori strike. And I'm like, whoa. Whoa. I mean, everybody was talking about the possibility of Obito killing Ren and Kakashi not being able to stop him, or Zetsu taking over Obito's body and killing Ren and Kakashi not being able to stop him. But it turns out Kakashi himself killed Ren. And apparently he didn't want to do it because he's crying. And so my thing is that Ren's death is not necessarily what made Obito turn to the dark side, but the reason why Kakashi had to kill Ren is why Obito decided to go back to Madara and turn to the dark side. And so I think that needs to be the focus of our attention coming out of this week's chapter, is discussing and guessing and predicting and speculating why Kakashi had to kill Ren. Because he didn't want to. He's crying as he has his hand, his arm through her chest. Now, in my opinion, and these are my two predictions, so tell me what you think, and also give me some of your own. But my first prediction is that Kakashi is doing some Kasame type things right here when he kills Ren, in that he may be killing her to protect the security of the village, or to make sure that his mission isn't compromised. And if that's the case, that would be the ultimate betrayal, because of everything that he went through with Obito in order to save and protect Ren. You know, learning that those who break the rules are considered trash, but those who abandon their friends for the sake of the rules are even worse than trash. So if after all of that, and after learning all of that, and going through all of that with Obito, and being entrusted with Ren, he was to somehow kill Ren because it may be in the best interest of the village, like, that would make Obito lose all faith in humanity and certainly all faith in the village. Like, oh, is this how things really are? Is this what we do? Is this what we call acceptable? And I mean, if you think about it, I know it was just a movie, but back in the third Naruto Shippuden movie, Kakashi offers himself willingly as a sacrifice to blow up the main villain. And in so doing, his own life would be taken. And he got the Hokage, who was Tsunade, to go along with it. So, I mean, we understand that Kakashi is a little bit cold and calculated, if you will, when it comes to the security of the village. Now, that, like I said, that will make Obito lose all faith in humanity. And if that was the case, I could fully understand why Obito would not return to the village and why he would hate the entire shinobi world. Second, and here's what I think is actually the most realistic and even the most epic reason why Ren could have died. Kakashi could have decided to kill Ren in order to spare himself the pain of losing her to the hands of the enemy. And in his mind, it may have been better if Ren dies at his hand, the hand of a friend, rather than the hand of an enemy. And it reminds me of a Japanese tradition that the samurai have used, where it's better to die at the hands of your friend than to die at the hands of your enemy. Like, I think in some crazy kind of way, that may also be what Kakashi considers protecting Ren. In his mind, him killing Ren is protecting Ren, because at least she's not going to be killed by the enemy. And if that's the case, that's equally messed up, but epic at the same time. Because it's almost as though Kakashi has accepted a life of failure, where he's not able to be strong enough to do the things that he says he's going to do. So this is, you know what I'm saying, his way out. This is how he lives with not being able to do the things that he promises to do. I'm just going to take her life instead of having to suffer the pain of her being lost to the enemies who I swore I would not let harm her. So those are my predictions. And like I said, tell me what you think. As usual, rate, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for your time. Peace.